We're going to talk about the Bitcoin dominance chart. Are we going to see, in May, everything going crazy? So hi everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new, make sure you've subscribed, hit the bell button and leave a like. Now, we're going to talk about educational stuff, so you will learn something, hopefully. Something that I think is an edge in the market, and you're going to notice some obvious kind of elements to that. We are going to look at a few little options and altcoins that could do well in May, obviously very much off the cuff in terms of what I feel is undervalued in terms of the BTC pairings and fundamental developments within some of these coins as well. But for me, we've got to talk about the dominance chart. But before we talk about the dominance chart, we need to put into context why this is so important. What it symbolizes is simple. Is Bitcoin more dominant over altcoins or not? Or are altcoins more dominant than Bitcoin? Now, some people disagree with my findings and my reasonings, but for me, proof's in the pudding, it works for me very, very well. Some people I know just don't get it. Even other people who are influential in the space, who have YouTube channels, they just cannot get their head around it. But if you are just trading in USD, that's fine. You've got to kind of program yourself a little bit. Now, when I first started crypto, USD wasn't a thing. You couldn't really buy in Tether. It wasn't really a thing. It was tiny. It was just a very, very small thing. It's all changed, obviously. Now, the BTC pairings of every single chart is important to look at. That is what governs it. If these are going up, you can bet your bottom dollar that usually, as a trend, the dominance chart is going down. Vice versa, if these are going down, the dominance chart is going up, would indicate Bitcoin's rampant and it's freaking killing everything. Now, I've already showed you this before. Go to like of Ethereum and you're going to have underneath the price in USD this. This is the price basically of that. So in BTC value, that is $2,777, right? Give or take. Crazy, isn't it? Top tip. A little bit of an edge there. Anyways, we need to look at the dominance chart though, and I want to explain it. And this is where the caveat of this problem lies, right? Everyone's talking, right? And I understand why, because it's cool. But everyone's saying, if we fall below a certain point, we're going to go mental, right? Chances are possible. But the reality is, are we late? Are we late? Because I was telling people, jump into altcoins when it's above 70%. So basically, from this point onwards, 67 to 74 it was, this was basement dollar value levels in the BTC side of it. What do I mean by that? So in USD you might be making money, but if you've got Bitcoin laying around, well guess what? You can buy a good chunk of altcoin with your BTC at low Satoshi levels. So as this happens, as we fall off that cliff, right, your Satoshi values are going up. That is the edge in this game, this video. So what do? Well, ideally, you want to be looking now, if you've been riding that wave with me, which I have done many videos saying do this, by the way, because you'll probably make some Bitcoin, you've probably got a lot more BTC than you have ever had. The problem is, people will look at this side and go, well, actually, no, if you buy altcoins here, you're going to make USD. But within that period of time, you're losing Satoshis. It would be better off just buying Bitcoin and just holding it. Cool. And then you can put into altcoins at the top of that cycle and boom. So what's going to happen next? Well, we've got two scenarios. One, Bitcoin could go rampant very, very soon, in my opinion. I think it's due some killing, right, in my opinion. Will it happen? Don't know. Don't know. No one knows. We've got to remember Bitcoin is a very, very strange asset. But one thing is for certain, the hype around altcoins are still ever present. So that would indicate maybe we've got a bit more to go. And I do think it's interesting. Now, this is not a bull and a bear market indicator. This is on anything, right? It doesn't matter. If the market's bearish, this can still work. If it's bullish, it can still work. Now, a bull market in terms, we usually get 2 to 3 altcoins in a year. So we're maybe looking at a couple of these every single time. So when you look in the past period and you zoom out a little bit, this is the daily time frame. So we got here September 2019, where it just drops all the way for a few weeks. that is an indication of a little mini alt season. Cool. It drops off a cliff. Again, another one here. Bitcoin season, altcoin season, Bitcoin season. Probably, maybe not as random as that, but that was the last one. That was the last, the DeFi bubble season, essentially, where everything went crazy in DeFi and the oracles went nuts. That was that one. Then this was when Bitcoin went rampant at the end of last year, and this is where we are right now. So they happen all the time. It doesn't matter what the market cycle's doing, you can use this tool all the time. Now, why is it important? It's timing. Timing. Get it? You do not want to be in altcoins when this is going up, because you're going to lose your Satoshi values. Yes, if you are just predominantly in USD, that's probably the time to be in altcoins because Bitcoin's pulling them up. But if you want to just grow Satoshis, you want to just wait and chill out. Reason why, if you got Bitcoin, hold Bitcoin until it goes to a high point. So what I'm doing, and I've already mentioned this, I will be taking profits in Bitcoin. I have been over the last few months, little bits here and there, just adding to my bag. So when it does go back up again, because it will at some point, we know it's going to happen. Guess what? Well, profits are going to take it into Bitcoin, and the dominance is going to go up, and Bitcoin's going to be more dominant than altcoins because the hype will die off. It's kind of what happens. Doesn't matter what cycle you're in, as I say. And I know people will be commenting going, oh, but it's different this time. It's never different. Bitcoin is the store of value. People want to put their money into that because it's the biggest land grab ever. So that's the explaining side of it, right? But what we've got to look at as well, yeah, we've got all this kind of caveat of when to do this, what to do this, but we've got to look at, well, what could look quite good in the next month. And even if I look at my Twitter, right, I got a simple version of this, right? But everything's going rampant. My Twitter's just growing mental. So please, if you want to follow me, crack on. I'm doing a newsletter today as well. Link below. You can get my inner brain, basically, right? And I'm not looking to add to my amount of coins I've got. I am looking to buy dips in certain things in case things look interesting. Now, why do I do this? I did it yesterday with Federal Reserve, bought a little bit more before it went pop because of the staking. I'm looking at Polkadot with a lot of interest at the moment, as I think it's consolidating very, very well. It's still very, very nice in an area. Yeah, some people go, that's overvalued, but I think it's got a lot more to run. I'm looking at Chainlink, maybe not as an investment, but as a flip, because I do think that is undervalued, and I've said that on numerous occasions. So let me just show this to you, and then you'll probably go, oh, okay, I'll get where you're going with this. If you're looking at the last alt season bubble, which I spoke about before, it's not so much a bubble, but the DeFi pop, where it went from freaking 1 billion locks up to like 30 billion in a matter of a couple of weeks. It was crazy. That's where we are. It's like, why are people not buying this yet? I just don't get it. So there's a potential flip for me looking at Chainlink, in my opinion. Maybe I may not do it, but I always said this with Ethereum. Last month I was going, look at Ethereum, look at Ethereum, look at Ethereum. Guys, look at Ethereum, look at Ethereum. And everyone was like, mate, it's all-time high. Why do I want to buy this? Well, because it's so low in BTC. Now what? Well, with $2,700. You got to look at these BTC charts. These BTC pairs will tell you where the money is. And I think Chainlink, guess what? Boom. If that happens, by the way, and I'm coming back at another video in June time and I look like a genius, I do apologise. I like to have a fat head sometimes, but sometimes the obvious is there. We've started the correction. Well, we've had the correction, sorry. We've started the impulse up. We've had this correction. We're now looking quite good. Potentially the next run to this level could be happening. But even if it doesn't even go all the way to the top, you know, even if you're adding like 44% and it goes up to these previous levels here, 44% on top of $38 isn't a bad little chunk. And people will be like, oh, look at this. I called this. This is amazing. Realistically, it's all on this chart. It's telling you exactly where it is. There's other ones on here as well. And as I said, I mentioned Ethereum, right? Ethereum could still go much higher, by the way. This grey box is a definite opportunity. But when you look at like the weekly time frame and the 3-day chart, it was forming a trend. It looked quite good. It corrected. Boom. Off we go. But there is more out there. There is so many more out there that look brilliant. Now, I know people will ask for the same things, but when you look at some, they've already ran. Just don't touch them. There's no point. The likes of VeChain. I love VeChain. I love it to bits. But realistically, it's kind of done its magic, right? When I was looking at VeChain, obviously this was the last time I was selling it up around these points. It was actually after this, to be fair. And then it dropped all the way down. This is where we're talking about the dominance chart being important. We know what happened here. The dominance chart was low, right? It then went high again, as I said, in that previous version where we had that previous alt season bubble. This was it. We dropped, well, this is when dominance chart was around 75%, well, 74% of tops. So between that 67% and 74%, when I was saying buy altcoins, this is where the lowness was. And if you had a bit of Bitcoin there and you bought at these low Satoshi levels, just say January time, and it popped, 6-7x potentially, give or take, wherever you buy or sell in and around on VeChain. They're the ones you don't want to touch because they've already ran. Yes, you can get a decent little dollar cost average order in if you wanted to keep hold of it, whatever, but there's no point. The likes of Theta as well, another one that's popped massively, but we want to look for the ones that haven't popped yet. Chainlink, I've already mentioned as one. Another one of interest will potentially be Kusama. Yes, it's popped, but it's also corrected quite aggressively and it's still much lower than that previous high. As an example, you got IOTA randomly. Look at this. This has been unbelievable. It's been popping, and now this doesn't look like much, but that is a monster move. It's a crazy move, and you got to think in the past, well, this has been much higher. So again, maybe we may see a rebirth of some of them old classics from 2017 as well. There's loads to look at, Again, I mentioned before at the start of this video, Polkadot. Yes, it's already popped, but at the same time, you've got more developments coming. It is a lot lower than, you can see that, even if we're looking at buying right now and that top, there's still a 20% gain there potentially. So you're still getting a discount if you were thinking, oh, I missed it, no, whatever. You never know what could happen, especially when you think it's only $33 billion market cap. It was a lot higher, and most importantly, it still could go a lot more as well. Again, don't look at the likes of BNB because obviously, hello, this is well on its journey now. So this is like the top. It corrected at this point. This could potentially go even higher. And yes, it's probably pretty likely with the fact that the BSC chain getting bigger, the volume of Binance getting more and more crazy, and the more and more stuff they're doing. Another one to look at is obviously Cardano. This was a top. This went to 3,100. It's now just about 2,500, give or take, in and around that region. Again, if we're looking at currently buying in right now, it could actually go up 30% to where that top level was. Who knows? But you got to look for the opportunities. You got to find them. They won't just come to you. Again, Ave's a good example. Previous top, retraced quite nicely, could go much higher. But when you start looking at it, it's still in a monster uptrend. It's crazy. So there you go. I hope this video has helped you in terms of why you should be buying at certain points or why you shouldn't be. Yeah, there's loads of things out there that you can look at. And in my opinion, this market has still got a lot more to give. We're looking at the amount, 2.12 trillion. Dominance is dropping nicely. Yeah, we're well in this bull run and it's looking pretty damn tasty.